ever felt completely overwhelmed by portrait photography? Or just at a loss of what to focus on to take you to that next level? Then come hang with me. I help guide portrait photographers just like you to stay clear and sharp in camera and with your goals. I'm your host, photographer, educator, and weirdly positive mama for Emily Supio. And this is the Stay Focused podcast. Photography advice to help you stay focused. Well, hey there, it's Emily, and thank you so much for pressing play on today's episode of the Stay Focused podcast. Now, if you are looking to grow your business, whether it be high school seniors, sports photography, newborns, weddings, family portraits, you're always wondering, how do I market myself and how do I find clients, right? We're all searching for how to book our calendar with the perfect client and the perfect type of photography that fuels us, that gives us that passion, right? That makes us want to get our camera out there and get as creative as we can. Well, on today's episode, I have a special guest that I'm really excited to share with you. This guest is actually one of my past students, so that makes me even more excited to have her on the show. Shannon Liebrock is going to be joining us in just a minute, and she shares a absolutely golden tip for marketing your photography business. And the coolest thing about it is that it does not cost anything. It's actually fueled her high school senior and sports photography business to where she is completely booked each and every month. Super excited to have her join us on the show today. If you are a portrait photographer who is looking to start or grow your own profitable photography business, but just doesn't have the confidence or skill set to really make it happen, I've got you. Come join me today in my free 40-minute business class for photographers looking to do just that. You can head to cozyclicks.com/business class to watch today. You can also click the direct link anywhere you are listening to this podcast today and sign up and get started. All right, let's talk high school seniors, sports photography, and how to market for $0. Welcome, Shannon, to the show. All right, everyone, I have Shannon Liebrock on the show with us today. Hey, Shannon, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Awesome. So, Shannon, I know that there's probably not a lot of people out there that are listening that know all about you and all about your business. So can you give us like the quick rundown of who you are, what you do, what your business looks like?
Yeah, so I am a local high school sports and college sports photographer, and I also specialize in senior pictures, high school seniors. That's kind of my love is with those high school seniors and with the college and high school sports.
And Shannon, your work, and I know I've said this to you before, but your work is amazing. And I feel like I've known you and your work for a while now and just watched the growth of your work and how you have just evolved. Your business is just on point and everything I see is just so cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you guys haven't seen her work, I'm going to post some in the show notes so you can take a peek at it too. But it really is cool, really cool. And I love your sports stuff too. Like that just, I feel like every time I see it, it's just so like you have just frozen these moments in time that are just awesome. But I know you started your business quite a while ago. Is that right?
I did. So I started a lot like a lot of your listeners, just as a mom wanting to take, better pictures of her kids and get active with them in that way. So I started actually back in 1994. Now I'm like really aging myself.
I'm going to ask you. So before you keep going, Shannon, just because I think that there's a lot of people that feel that fear of starting because you're saying they're aging. So in 1994, how old were you back in 1994?
Oh, I was like 24, 25-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so go ahead.
No, you keep going.
So how I got started is I just, there was a photography studio opening up down the street from my house. And I walked in one day and I said, I will work for you for free if you just teach me everything that you know. And I ended up just finding this amazing human that took me under his wing, taught me everything that he knew. I ended up working for them for about 5 or 6 years before I went off on my own. But that's how I got started. I just went in and said, hey, I'll do this for free. Just teach me. I'll be a sponge. And it was the best decision I ever made.
That's cool. So you just decided at 24 years old, well, I'm going to walk in and learn and learn from these people. So and a lot of times it just takes that first step in, making things happen for yourself, especially if you want to learn something new, whether it be, just learning the camera itself or learning how to start your business. So I like that, Shannon. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things that I could share with people is don't be afraid to reach out. I know I've reached out to you before. I reach out to other photographers every single day. I'm now like 30 years into this and I still reach out to photographers every day. I learn something new every day. And so don't be, afraid to pick up the phone or to instant message somebody and ask them a question about something that they've done because, more often than not, they'll be happy to share it with you.
I like that advice. And you know what? The worst thing that can happen, you guys, is that maybe they don't respond to you or they say no. And maybe it's not no forever. Maybe, in a month or two, they reach back out to you and say, hey, were you still interested in this? So there's, they're nothing tremendously awful is going to happen,
Right.
So just, taking that initiative and taking those steps. Now, I know when you started, Shannon, it wasn't sports photography and high school seniors. You tried a lot of different genres of photography. And how did that go for you?
Not real well.
Okay.
And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made early on was trying to be a jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. And, I used to joke with people. I'm like, I'd take a picture of your big toe if you let me, back then. Because you just want work. And once I kind of settled into A, what I enjoyed, and B, what I was really kind of better at than some of the other things, that's when I really started to find my passion, and really started to just enjoy it for what it was. Because like for me, I cannot do newborns. It's just either. Oh my goodness. And I tried and I bought all the props and this and that. And it just wasn't for me. Weddings are no longer for me. I did those for a lot of years. But I just found that, that's just not my niche. And once I found the sports, I found the high school seniors and I do a lot of headshot work as well. That's what I enjoy. And so naturally, I think I'm better at it because I enjoy it so much.
And maybe that's what I see from you in your work too, Shannon, when I see your work pop up on my Instagram or Facebook, maybe that you've fallen into this and you really enjoy and love the sports and the seniors. Like, I think other people notice that and pick up on that too. And just, your passion comes out through your work. But what I want to say off of what you were just saying to anyone that's listening right now, especially if you are new and you're, starting your business up right now, is that we hear a lot of people like Shannon, and I say the same thing, saying that, you've got to niche down, you've got to find, what makes you happy. You don't want to be the jack of all trades and do everything. But I want to preface this too by saying in the beginning, sometimes that's okay because you don't know what ignites you, what gives you that passion just yet. So it's okay to kind of dabble around and play around because back in 1994, you didn't know that, sports and high school seniors was it for you. That's why you were trying a lot of things. So while we hear that a lot and as you're, searching for articles on Google or you're listening to other podcasts, you're hearing these photographers tell you to niche down, stick to one type of photography. But it doesn't always have to start that way. And I want you guys all to realize that too, is that it's okay to try different things because when you know what you don't like, it helps you get closer to what you do like. So
that's 100% correct. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll get there. It takes time. It's not instant. And maybe you do know instantly right now, like, yes, I want to do this, but it can also evolve too. Maybe right now you're like, yeah, yes, I know I want to do newborns, or I know I want to do high school seniors, but it doesn't mean that that's forever. Maybe in 5 years, you sample a different niche and you really start liking that. So you've got to keep that in the back of your mind, that you can always evolve and change, and whatever you pick right now doesn't have to be set in stone forever. But Shannon, I know that, and I'm super interested in this sports photography. I love your high school seniors too, but I really, really like the sports stuff that you do. How did you evolve into such a specialty in sports photography?
So my kids were very active in sports, all three of them. And so I started Pop Warner football, taking pictures at Pop Warner football, and it just kind of evolved from there. Then my son went to high school and I started doing, the high school sports and made some connections through that. I volunteer a lot. I probably volunteer 150 to 200 hours a season to local high school sports organizations and different things like that. And then it just led to, I made a connection through Sports 360 AZ, which allowed me now to do college sports. So I now cover ASU, football, basketball, that kind of thing. So it was just kind of it just evolved over time. But if somebody's looking to get into sports photography, starting at those Pop Warner levels, that's the best advice that I can give, because it allows you to hone in on your skills a little bit without the pressure of, really trying to create something, amazing every time. You learn to anticipate, which is something that's really key in sports photography, is learning to anticipate and learn the sport. You'll be able to get a lot better shots once you can do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought of that when you said that, because there's a lot of sports that I wouldn't even know what to anticipate would be happening. Yeah. So if someone were to hire me for I don't know, a golf game, maybe, I'm trying to think of something I have no clue of how it goes. I wouldn't even know how to anticipate that. So I love that you said, start kind of small in the sports that you want to.
Start small, learn the sport. So for instance, in my situation, I really know football and I really know basketball. And so I can anticipate what's coming next. I can get those a lot better shots. I go out to volleyball and I'm lost.
So you kind of have a niche within your niche too, right?
I do.
That's cool. I like that. Now, Shannon, I want to rewind a little bit, because you said something just real briefly, but I want to elaborate on it a little bit more, because I think a lot of photographers that are out there that are just starting their business or kind of looking to grow, kind of feeling stuck in their business, they always want to know that question, how do I market my business? How do I find clients? How do I make connections? How do I, how does this happen? I can take great pictures. How do I find people? And you said volunteer. You said something real briefly. You said, you know what? I volunteer and I volunteer all this time. How does that help gain clients for your business? Because volunteer, when you hear that, it means, free, right? You're working for free. But how did you do that to create leads and create clients for your business?
So for instance, when I go out and I do my sports photography, I post those images on my Facebook, on my Instagram. Those are available to the kids for free. I don't charge the kids for those. But what it does is it gives a window. People start coming to my Facebook, and so then they start seeing, oh, she does senior pictures. She does, headshots, that kind of thing. I spend $0 every year marketing. And I do roughly 80 to 90 high school seniors a year, strictly from the exposure that I get from doing the sports photography. That you start to build relationships with the kids on the field. You start building relationships with the parents. And it just kind of naturally grows from there. You do 4 or 5, you're out there doing the football and the sports photography, and then you do 4 or 5 of those boys on the team. They get to know you from that. Well, that spreads to 4 or 5 people, which spreads to 4 or 5 people, and it will grow. And plus it makes me feel good to go out and do something and give back to the community. So that's the reason that I do it. And like I said, I don't spend any marketing dollars per year. It's strictly what I get back from doing my volunteer work.
That's genius, Shannon. Like, because I think there's so many people that think that marketing has to either one, cost a lot of money, right? Like you have to run Facebook ads or you have to spend a lot of money, or that it has to be super complicated. But it's really, it goes back to what we were just talking about in the very beginning. It's like taking that first step, like deciding like, yep, I'm going to get out there in front of all these people. I'm going to make connections. I'm going to meet people. And I also think too, it seems a little taboo in the photography community to shoot for free. Like people always say, oh, raise your prices, shoot for free. But you're not really shooting for free because you're making connections, and it's because you're sports and high school seniors. That's your ideal market, right? Like you're getting to these high school games or college games, and it's not just the players. It's the people that are coming, the people that are friends with the players, the people that, it's just opens up this whole ecosystem for you, right?
Right. And when you're first starting, don't be afraid to ask for the business. Don't be afraid to, once you have a relationship with a player or a family, that kind of thing, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm starting out. I'm trying to build my portfolio. Can I take your senior out and do some pictures? Can I take pictures of your family? And you go out and you do one family and they love what you've done. They're going to tell 5 or 10 of their friends. And then a couple of those are going to use you. And then they're going to tell, and pretty soon, your name is out to 100, 200 people in a really short period of time. And it's cost you nothing to do that.
Yeah. And it's so true, the way that it spreads like that. And I know a lot of you that are newer, you can't see that picture. You like look at your calendar and it's like wide open. And you listen to Shannon and you're like, oh, I want that. I want all of these people to know me. And it happens. It will get there. You just have to, again, take that first step. And maybe volunteering is the marketing plan and the way that you want to go. And it's a great way, just like you said, you're connected to your community then. And it was your kids, right? So you're working with your kids and your kids' friends, and you're part of that community, and you're giving back. You're giving shots for free. I know I work with a lot of students. A lot of my students get a lot of kind of nervous when they're like, oh, you don't charge them anything, or you give them away for free. And it's almost like, well, you are giving them away for free, but eventually that money and those clients are going to come back, and it's going to come all around to you. So, well, it seems like it's for free. Like you are making money, and it is coming back, right? Yeah. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So Shannon, are there any other mistakes that you made along the way that you could help a photographer that is listening right now so they don't make the same mistakes that you did?
So I think the biggest key with photography is not being afraid to try new things, and just not putting too much emphasis on what others think about your work. I made that mistake early on in my career. Going back when I told you that I worked for the studio, walked in, worked for the studio. After I left there, I went to work for another studio and kind of got a little beat down. My work was overly criticized, things like that. And I really kind of wore that on my sleeve, took that to heart. And it caused me to walk away from photography for quite a few years before going back to it. And so shoot for yourself, shoot for your clients. As long as you're happy with what you're putting out there, your clients are happy with what's being put out there. Don't worry about them being technically perfect all the time. Concentrate on capturing the essence of the moment and the essence of the personality and the person. And as long as you do that, your business will just soar. Yeah, just don't put too much emphasis on what others how others critique your work.
That's golden advice, Shannon. And the thing is, and I hope you guys actually rewind back through that and listen to it again a second time or even a third time, because sometimes I think that really needs to just soak into our heads, because that it's hard to do, right? It's hard to separate
hard.
yourself. So I want you guys to know that too, that every photographer, I think, goes through that, where you're comparing yourself or, second guessing yourself a little bit. But the more you just realize that it's only hurting you, the closer you're going to get to your goals. So I think that really is just golden advice, Shannon. I might even pull some of those out as a quote and quote you on that too, because I think that's really important for people to know.
But the other thing that I think is really important for photographers that are just starting out, because of all the new AI and a lot of the digital technology now, I think that some people who are just starting out don't take the time to really learn how to see light. And if you can really learn how to harness light, that's going to make all the difference in the world to your final images as well. So that's the only other thing that I really think is important that I see a lot of newer people getting away from.
Absolutely. Just bring it right back to photography is light, right, you guys? So really understanding that and honing in on that, very key. Shannon, you are so wise. It has been such a pleasure chatting with you today. But I want people to see the work that you do, because I really do. And I'm going to say this again. I think it's really amazing. So where do you hang out the most on social media? Or if they are in the area, Shannon, you're in Phoenix, Chandler. Where are you at?
Yes. So I'm in Chandler.
Okay.
And then I work out of California in the summers. So I'm in California from August through September, but I'll be back in Chandler in September. People can always reach out to me. You can always instant message me if you have questions, or, pick up the phone, give me a ring. I'm happy to talk to anybody, anytime. You can find me on Facebook under Shannon Liebrock, or at Instagram under Liebrock Photography 1.
Perfect. And I'm going to be linking to those directly in the show notes, or if you guys are listening on YouTube or Spotify, iTunes, it's right in the description. You just have to open that up and you can click and you can see Shannon's work there, and, send her a quick DM, say hello, tell her what you liked about the show. I'm sure you like connecting with people, right? And new photographers.
Absolutely.
And if you have a high school senior or a senior or child who's really into sports and you're interested in booking with her, reach out to her too, because she does fantastic work, and you're going to see that when you check her work out. But Shannon, again, thank you so much for joining us today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It's so cool when I get to chat with past students, and I love seeing the evolution of their work and what they're doing with their photography skills and their photography business. And I hope that you got a lot of value out of our conversation today. And what I hope that you really take out of today's episode is that you have to take that first step, that you've got to take action. You've got to create some movement, either in your photography skills or with your photography business, to make things happen. Sometimes these things are just small steps, and sometimes they're a little bit bigger. But in order to reach your goals, in order to see results with the photography that you are taking, the pictures that you are taking, or to see growth in your business, you've got to make sure that you're doing things each and every day that are helping you move forward to the goal in the place that you want to be at. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us in today's episode. I will see you next week with an all new episode of the Stay Focused podcast. But until then, here's to staying in focus, in camera, and with your goals. Bye, you guys.